This is Passion Nightclub, or the better translation, Heaven on Earth. It was at one point the most important gathering place in China. Mike Tyson even went there back in 2005. Today we're going to talk about a case involving a former billionaire, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, his close aide, and a nightclub in China that was in the middle of a political storm that struck China in the early 2000s. Welcome to China Insider, I'm David Zhang. Now this is Qin Hui, a Chinese billionaire and former media tycoon. He was just recently charged by the DOJ with straw donor schemes, particularly involving the New York City Mayor Eric Adams' election campaign back in 2021. Now Qin admitted also to green card fraud. He will face prison terms up to 27 years. But it seems that he will have it reduced to just 6 months should he abide by the terms in the plea, after which he will be expelled from the United States. Now, he likely told some stuff quite important to the DOJ to get this deal. Just 2 decades prior, Qin was perhaps one of the most powerful men in all of China. He was once the owner of Passion Nightclub. Its Chinese name directly translates to Heaven on Earth. Since 1995, the Beijing nightclub has served as a hub for communist officials to gather, as well as powerful businessmen in China. The club was so famous from the mid-1990s to the mid-2000s. It was a place where beautiful girls, large private rooms, and power come together. So how exactly did a man go from owning a nightclub in China to now about to sit in prison? Supposedly for the next 2 decades, but I guess only 6 months. Well, the story takes us back to the 90s. Chinese Communist leader Zhang was still in power, and the 90s and the early 2000s were defined as the golden age of reform and opening up, and along with that, actually the golden age of corruption. Now, during the peak of this period, huge amounts of money it was flowing into China, into the hands of elites. Qin Hui took $1.8 million and a company with a military background as collateral to buy a club in Beijing. He then renamed it Heaven on Earth, or Passion as its official English translation. Now, the idea is very simple. It's to make it a place that people would feel like it is heaven on earth. Heaven on Earth arrived on the scene in 1995 to be the it place for CCP officials to come enjoy the booze, the girls, and all the backdoor negotiations. They got to meet with business leaders and enjoy lavish Western lifestyles that was still sort of foreign to China back in the days. Of course, this is all after a long day of doing their communist work, whatever that is. But those CCP officials loved coming here, mainly because of the girls. Qin carefully selected and recruited female college students who should not only be young and beautiful, but also have a wide variety of knowledge in music, chess, calligraphy, painting, astronomy, geography, ancient and modern history. Of course, this is all to meet the needs of different sorts of clients, from old to young, different walks of life. And Qin also had another requirement. To do well here, the club was not limited to the traditional reception services, if you know what I mean, but he also advocated for the girls chatting with customers in different areas and topics. So it was a premium hostess club, and of course, any of the additional services they asked for. And Qin used the club to advance his own social status, access to other rich businessmen, and most of all, to secure his political backing. Qin had married into one of the most powerful family back in the days, former Chinese President Li Xianyan. He was once the second most powerful man in China, and that's basically how Qin got his money to get started in his business. His first wife, Lin, was not quite happy about the venture into the nightclub business. It was more like a prostitution house rather than a real business. But she died in 1996, just 1 year after the club was opened. His in-laws had told him that he could not get remarried, otherwise he would lose his status or his powerful connection with his in-laws. Now, Qin, of course, wasn't going to listen, but more on that later. So in the early 2000s, Qin's brother controlled media and entertainment. Qin himself was involved with multiple business ventures into media and entertainment as well. It included newspaper like Xingpao Daily News. It earned him the title of, quote, the richest man in private media in China. So just to show you how powerful Qin was at the time in the 90s, in 1996, 2 deputy police chiefs came to the club to drink. After 1 bottle of Royal Salute, the manager asked the 2 people to pay, and they felt insulted. Being the deputy chiefs in Beijing, felt like they were supposed to be served free alcohol and all. And so, of course, we know that police was very powerful in China back in the days, today, but you know they were trying to get something out of this, right? They themselves were even from powerful red families. And so they phoned up the police bureau. And within 15 minutes, the club was surrounded by SWAT and police vehicles. Everyone at the club except for Chin himself was put to the ground and got a beating. Now, of course, Chin saw this and he immediately phoned up his own connections, somebody named Lin Jiamin, who is the then wife of Li Shanyan. And she was, of course, back in the days, the first lady of the PRC from 1983 to 1988. Lady Lin then called without hesitation to a number belonging to former Paramount leader Jiang Zemin. And so 50 minutes after that, military vehicles rolled up. And so all the police were disarmed and taken away in handcuffs. So it was a showdown of who had a stronger political backing, who had more power. And Chin won that round. Before we continue, Blueberry Creative is having a spring blossom sale. Now, for the limited time, all products can enjoy my discount code DAVID for a 15% off. Also free shipping if you spend $70 or more. So this includes all the amazing Taiwan tea, the skincare lines from Dermaroller, and K-beauty products, as well as all other products in the store. So check out the sale as it ends on March 31st. Link in the description. But it also left a huge difference in terms of the power struggle and the power balance between the club, who they represented, and the police system, particularly those in Beijing. And later, it became one of the reasons as to why Qin Hui was driven out of China. Now, back to the present a little bit. Qin was allegedly involved in abusing his ex-wife from the second marriage, former model and Miss China Emma Lin Duo. Now, Qin had allegedly held an axe in front of her now former second wife. Even though they were divorced, they were still both living in Long Island. On September 22nd last year, the Old Westbury Village Police Department received a 911 call. The police reported that Qin Hui used an axe to destroy her ex-wife's bedroom closet door, which was equipped with an electric lock. And when Qin Hui was holding an axe, his ex-mother-in-law and underage son were both present. The police arrested Qin Hui that day and charged him. Now, in addition, the prosecutor also pointed out that on July 25th, 2022, Qin Hui strangled his ex-wife during an argument. Now, Emma had married Qin Hui back in 2003. Remember, Qin was told to not get remarried, otherwise he'd lose all of his political backing. But of course, he didn't listen. He was very much into that lifestyle. So from the early 2000s, Qin was involved with Hong Kong actresses and other women in China. In 2003, Emma Liu, who rumors suggest that she actually looked similar to the Hong Kong actress who Qin was very in love with, and that's why they got married. Now, Emma is involved with Winnie Greco. Now, if you remember that name, that is New York City Mayor Eric Adams' longtime aide who helped with his election campaign for mayor. Emma was tapped by the mayor's office to serve on Adams' Asian Affairs Advisory Council. That council was formed in 2022 under the leadership of course, Winnie Greco. Greco's two homes in the Bronx were raided last month by the FBI, and that probe also targeted a Queens shopping mall where the city and document had discovered evidence of illegal donations to the mayor's 2021 campaign. So it's likely that Qin Hui's arrest in October of 2023 led to Winnie Greco's home being raided, considering the illegal donation aspect that Qin has been charged with. Now, Qin Hui likely made multiple donations to Adams' campaign through Emma and others, and that potentially could be under the direction of Winnie Greco. And so that relationship still needs to be researched and understood. Still, we have no idea why Qin Hui decided, though, that he wanted to dip into American politics, giving contribution, given that he had disappeared in China after 2009 or 2010. So is he trying to start another heaven on earth, but in New York City? Well, you see, Qin began his downfall after 2005, when the most famous escort of the capital city was found dead in her own home. She was every man's dream at the club, to be able to spend time with her. Mike Tyson even dropped huge amounts of money to be with her when he visited China back in 2005. Now, allegedly she took home one night 4 million yuan, and that was in early 2000s, so that was a huge amount of money. That's equivalent to about 550K US dollars in that one night. Now, it's widely believed that the girl died because she knew too much about too many different state secrets involving too many people, having served so many in her career. And her murder was gruesome. She was likely tortured about what she knew before her death, as both of her breasts were cut off. And the home was ransacked as well. There were holes in her wall, thinking probably whoever murdered her thought that she had stuff hidden away behind the walls. And after her death, Qin's time at the club got harder and harder. His political backing was waning, And it culminated in an investigation by the CCP Discipline Commission, which has shortly happened after the death of the woman. Chen had gotten involved in an investigation into the former president of China Construction Bank and Li Peying, the former owner of Capital Airport. Now, it may look like he was in trouble at the time, but in fact, Chen Hui was able to save himself through something very interesting, an opportunity. You see, Chen Hui had set up in each of his club rooms a secret recording camera to essentially record blackmail materials against everybody that were there. So during the investigation, Chen simply handed over the tapes, which also contained recordings of officials in every aspect of the party, including those in the discipline commission. So with that, he exchanged it for his own personal safety, and that sort of amends perfectly Chen's involvement in the crime, and he was let go. So after that, Chen disappeared from China. His club Heaven on Earth was closed down and never reopened. So guess where that $1.8 million that he initially bought the club with comes from? Well, actually, it comes from, so he didn't have the money back then, right? But it was quote unquote loaned by two people. The first was Zhang and Zhao, the former president of China Construction Bank, and Li Peying, the former owner of Capital Airport. Yeah, the very two people that he was involved with the investigation were the same people that gave him money in the first place. Now, again, like I said, it's unclear when he actually left China to come to the United States and why he came here. But the question is, was he told to leave China with a mission? For example, in exchange for his safety from rotting in a Chinese prison, he got to go to the United States to disturb the peace of the American society. Question is, I seriously doubt that making straw donations was some just random blunder mistakes that he made without knowing that that was illegal. And where was he all this time before kind of becoming public once again, having a decade where he basically remained in the back, in the shadows? Maybe we'll know more in the future, but that's it today for the story on Chen Hui, the former billionaire who is now charged with making straw donations. And this story doesn't end here, so we'll have a follow-up once things get revealed. All right, if you enjoy the content, leave a like, comment below your thoughts, and subscribe to China Insider today. Until next time, bye-bye.